I met her on the night I almost died. I don't mean that poetically. I mean clinically. My heart stopped for 38 seconds after a collision on Highway 6, when a truck drifted into my lane and crushed the front of my car like it was made of paper. I remember the sound of metal folding. I remember the taste of blood. Then I remember quiet. Not darkness. Quiet. I was standing on the shoulder of the road, watching paramedics cut me out of my own car. My body was still inside, twisted in a way no living person should be twisted. I felt detached, like I was observing someone else's tragedy. I didn't feel pain. I didn't feel fear. I felt suspended. That's not where you're supposed to be. I turned. A woman stood a few steps away from me, barefoot on the asphalt. She looked out of place, not because of her clothes, simple jeans and a dark sweater, but because she didn't belong to the scene. Everyone else was frantic. She was calm. "You shouldn't watch this part," she said gently. "I think I already did," I replied. My voice sounded wrong, hollow, like it didn't belong to me. She studied me with unsettling focus. "You're not fully gone yet." "Gone where?" Her lips pressed together, like she was deciding how honest to be. "Somewhere you don't need to see tonight." I looked back at the wreck. "Am I dead?" "Not if you're willing to go back." The way she said it made my stomach tighten. "And if I'm not, then you won't notice the road anymore." That should have scared me. Instead, I asked, "Who are you?" "Someone who walks people across," she said. "Sometimes I meet them halfway." We stood there while the paramedics shouted numbers and commands. My blood pooled beneath the car, dark and unreal. "Why can I see you?" I asked. "Because you're standing in between," she said. "Your body is there. Your mind is here. You're borrowing time." "What's your name?" She hesitated. "I don't usually give it." "I don't usually die," I said. That earned a small smile. "Mara." I don't know why that mattered to me so much, but it did. "Are you going to take me?" I asked. "Not yet." "Why not?" She looked at me again, more carefully. "Because you're looking at me like you're still choosing." A medic suddenly leaned over my body and shouted, "We've got a pulse." The world around me shuddered, like a badly tuned radio. The road bent inward. The sound of sirens stretched into a long metallic scream. Mara stepped closer. "This is the part where it hurts again. I don't want to forget you," I said without thinking. Her eyes softened. "You won't. But you won't remember me clearly either. Just enough to feel wrong about it." "Will I see you again?" "Only if you keep walking toward the edge." Then she touched my chest. Pain came back all at once. I woke up in a hospital with tubes in my arms and a machine screaming my heart rate into the air. They told me I had a collapsed lung, 3 broken ribs, and a concussion. They told me I was lucky. I didn't feel lucky. I felt like something had been taken from me before I had time to understand it. For weeks, I dreamed of the road. Not the crash. The space beside it. The quiet. A woman standing where no one else stood. Sometimes she was blurry. Sometimes she was close enough that I could see the tiredness in her eyes. When I was released, I tried to go back to normal life. I returned to my apartment. I went back to work. I pretended I wasn't constantly aware of how thin everything felt. That was when I started seeing her again. Not in dreams. In reflections. The first time, it was in the dark window of a coffee shop. I lifted my cup and saw her behind me, standing near the door. I turned. No one was there. The second time, she appeared in the mirror of an elevator, just long enough to meet my eyes before the doors opened. On the third night, I found her sitting on the stairs outside my building. "You're not supposed to be here," I said. She looked up. "Neither are you." "Not yet." My pulse thundered in my ears. "Am I dying again?" "No," she said. "You're healing." "Then why can I see you?" "Because you crossed far enough to leave a mark." She stood and walked past me, brushing my arm. Cold ran through me like a second pulse. "I don't guide the living," she said. "But you don't feel entirely alive anymore." "That's not my fault." "I know," she replied. "That's why I came back." We stood there, a few feet apart, on the edge of 2 worlds I didn't understand. "You shouldn't get close to me," she added. "Why?" "Because I don't belong to people who still have time." "Then why are you here?" Her gaze lingered on me, heavy with something that looked too human to be allowed. "Because you almost left," she said. "And now I can't forget you." I tried to convince myself she was a symptom. The doctors had warned me about hallucinations after trauma. Stress, medication, oxygen deprivation. My brain searching for patterns where none existed. That explanation fit neatly, like a bandage over something that wouldn't stop bleeding. But hallucinations don't wait for you outside your building. She walked beside me that night. keeping a careful distance as if an invisible line separated us. People passed through her without noticing. A couple argued near the entrance. A man smoked by the trash cans. No one saw her. What happens if someone touches you? I asked. They won't, she said. Not the way you mean. You touched me before. Only because you weren't fully here. We stopped at the corner where the streetlight flickered. Her face looked more solid in the yellow glow. I noticed small details I hadn't seen before. A faint scar near her eyebrow. The way she held her hands like she was used to carrying something heavy. What do you do when you're not here? I asked. I walk, she said. I wait. I take people where they need to go. To die. Yes. The words sat between us, ugly and honest. Do you enjoy it? She looked genuinely surprised. No, but it's necessary. Necessary for who? For everything else to keep moving. I laughed weakly. That's a terrible job description. It's not meant to be comfortable. We started walking again. My building loomed behind us, suddenly too small for the conversation we were having. Why me? I asked. Why not just forget I exist? Because you don't belong cleanly anymore, she said. You're still breathing, but part of you listens when I call. I don't hear any voices. You hear silence differently. I hated how that made sense. Over the next weeks, she appeared more often. Always at night. Always when the city was half asleep. She never came inside my apartment. She stayed in doorways, on sidewalks, in places people passed through but didn't stay. We talked about small things at first. My job. Her not job. The weather, like it mattered to her. I learned she had been doing this longer than time meant anything. She learned I had no family left in the city and an apartment full of things I didn't care about. You're lonely, she said once. You collect the dead. Don't lecture me about loneliness. Her mouth curved slightly. Fair. One night, I asked the question I had been avoiding. What happens if I get closer to you? You already are. I mean really closer. She stopped walking. Then something breaks. In me. In both of us. That should have been enough to end it. It wasn't. I started looking forward to the nights. The quiet conversations. The way she listened like every word mattered because, to her, they were temporary. One evening, I found her standing near the river. Someone's coming, she said. For you. For me to take. Can I come? She shook her head. You don't want to see that. I already saw myself. This is different. We stood in silence until a woman stumbled out of a bar and collapsed near the water. Her breathing was shallow, uneven. People shouted for help. Someone called an ambulance. Mara didn't move until the sirens were close. Then she stepped forward. The air around the woman seemed to thin, like fog being pulled into a shape. I felt it more than saw it. A presence rising, confused, frightened. Mara reached out. The woman's eyes opened, not on her body, but on Mara. No, the woman whispered. I know, Mara said softly. But you're not alone. The woman clung to her like a child. I couldn't breathe. When it was over, Mara stood where the body remained, invisible to everyone else. You shouldn't watch, she said. You shouldn't be alone. Her eyes flicked to me, startled. I don't want to be, I added. That night, something changed. The distance between us shrank without either of us choosing it. When she stood near me, the cold didn't feel empty anymore. It felt like weight. One morning, I woke up with a bruise on my chest where her hand had never touched me. You're crossing again, she said when I showed her. I don't want to. I know. What if I don't go back next time? Her voice dropped. Then I won't be able to walk you. And you'll have to take me. She didn't answer. Instead, she said, you should stop seeing me. And you should stop coming. Silence. I can't, she admitted. Neither can I. That was when I realized this wasn't just about death. It was about choice. And we were both losing it. The first time I tried to stay away from her, my heart started misbehaving again. It wasn't dramatic. No flashing lights. No collapsing in public. Just a sudden tightness in my chest while I was brushing my teeth, followed by a dizzy wave that made the bathroom tilt sideways. The doctor called it a delayed complication from the trauma, gave me pills with names I couldn't pronounce, and told me to avoid stress. I didn't tell him about Mara. That night, I didn't go outside. I turned off the lights and lay in bed, listening to my own breathing like it was a fragile contract. Midnight passed. Then 1. Then 2. At 2:17 a.m., the room got colder. Not in the way air conditioners work. In the way absence works. You're doing this on purpose, I said into the dark. She stood near the door, barely visible. You're hurting yourself to avoid me, she replied. Maybe I'm trying to live. And I'm trying to keep you from crossing again. By haunting me. By reminding you what waits. I sat up. You said getting close breaks things. So let's not get close. That's not how it works, she said. Distance doesn't mean safety. It just means delay. I swung my legs off the bed. Then explain it. She hesitated. When someone stands between long enough, they start pulling on both sides. The living world weakens them. The other side starts noticing. Noticing what? You. My mouth went dry. So what am I now? A door, she said quietly. I laughed once sharp. That's poetic. And terrifying. It's temporary, she added. If you let go of me. And if I don't, then you won't belong to either place. The next weeks were a blur of half-healed days and heavy nights. My body recovered slowly. My mind didn't. I started sensing things before they happened. A stillness in crowded rooms. A pressure in the air before bad news arrived. Once, on the subway, I felt a pull in my chest and watched a man collapse 2 cars down. Mara appeared beside me before the medics did. You felt him, she said. I don't want to feel anyone. But you do. I started avoiding people. I worked from home. I stopped answering messages. It was easier to be alone than to feel the edges of strangers unraveling. One evening, I found Mara sitting on the floor of my hallway. You can't come in, I reminded her. I know, she said. I just needed to be close. To what? To you. I slid down the wall opposite her. We sat there with the door between us, like a wall between 2 lives. What happens when you take someone? I asked. They forget the pain, she said. They remember the weight of living. Then they let it go. And you? I remember all of it. That answer stayed with me. You don't sound like a thing that should exist alone, I said. Neither do you. Silence stretched until it felt like a third presence. I think I'm getting worse, I admitted. You're getting thinner, she corrected. Between here and there. What if I fall through? Then I will catch you, she said, without hesitation. Is that your job? No. The night I almost crossed again, it was raining. I was walking home because the bus felt wrong, like something inside it was already leaving. My chest tightened halfway across the intersection. The world dimmed, edges softening. Mara appeared in front of me. Sit, she ordered. I don't want to go with you, I said. I don't want you to, she replied. I collapsed onto the curb. The rain soaked through my jacket. Cars honked. Someone shouted. You can't stay like this, she said. You're pulling me closer every time. Then stop coming. I can't, she said. You changed me. The words hit harder than the pain. What did I change? She knelt in front of me, her face inches from mine. I used to take them and walk away. Now I stay. My vision tunneled. Is that bad? For you? Yes. For you? Also yes. The sirens came. The world lurched back into focus. Later, in the hospital, she stood near the window. I don't think I can survive another almost, I said. You weren't meant to. Then why did you send me back? Because you looked like someone who still wanted to choose. And now? She looked at me like the answer hurt. Now you're choosing me. They discharged me with stricter instructions and quieter warnings. No exertion. No alcohol. No stress. As if stress were something you could schedule. I went home with a paper bag of pills and the uneasy feeling that my body was on borrowed time again. Mara followed me as far as the front door. You're not supposed to, I told her. I won't cross, she said. But I won't leave. I leaned against the doorframe. If I keep seeing you, what happens? You'll keep thinning, she said. And I'll keep failing. Failing at what? At leaving. I laughed softly. You guide people to the end of everything. And I'm the thing you can't walk away from. That's not funny. It's a little funny. Her expression didn't change, but the air around her shifted, heavy and close. I was never meant to care, she said. I was meant to move forward only. Then stop, I said. Move forward. I don't know how, she replied. That scared me more than the idea of dying. Days passed, then weeks. I didn't collapse again, but I felt different. Like gravity had been adjusted without telling me. I could sense when someone was nearing the edge. Not always, just sometimes. A weight in my chest, a dull ringing in my ears. Mara started appearing during the day. At a bus stop. In a grocery store aisle. In the reflection of my phone screen. You're getting closer to their side, she said once. I don't want to. Want has nothing to do with it. Then what does? Attachment. The word tasted like an accusation. We started spending time together in places where no one noticed her. Empty parks. Closed bridges. Hospital parking lots at night. She never touched me. She stood close enough that I could feel cold radiating from her like the edge of winter. Tell me something real about you, I said one night. I don't have a before, she said. I don't remember becoming what I am. You don't remember being alive? She shook her head. Only the work. Do you want to remember? I don't know, she admitted. I think I would miss it. I realized then how tired she was. Not physically, existentially. The next collapse happened in a grocery store. I felt it before I saw it. The pull. The thinning. A woman dropped a carton of eggs, then herself. People screamed. Someone shouted for help. Mara was already there. This one isn't yours, I said without thinking. She looked at me sharply. Don't. I can feel her, I said. She's not ready. You don't decide that. But you do. Silence. I grabbed Mara's arm. For the first time, it felt solid. The store went quiet. Not silent. Just distant. Like the world had taken a step back. What did you do? She asked. I don't know, I said. I just didn't want you to take her. The woman on the floor gasped. Her chest heaved. Color rushed back into her face. Mara stared at her, then at me. You interfered, she said. I helped. You delayed, she corrected. There's a difference. My hands shook. I can't watch you do this anymore. Then don't stand so close to the edge. I didn't ask for this. Neither did I, she said. But now it's between us. The air around us felt wrong, stretched thin. You can't keep pulling people back, she said. The balance. Balance doesn't matter to someone dying on a grocery store floor. Her jaw tightened. It matters to everything else. I let go of her arm. We walked out separately. That night, she didn't come to my door. The pull in my chest didn't go away. It grew stronger. I started dreaming of doors. Some were hospital rooms. Some were dark fields. Some were just light. Mara stood in every dream on the other side. When I woke up, my sheets were cold. On the fourth night without her, I found her by the river again. You're fading, she said. So are you. I was sent back because of you. Sent by who? She hesitated. By what notices when rules bend. Am I breaking rules? Yes. Are you? She looked at me like the answer was dangerous. Every time I stay. The water behind her moved slowly, like it was thinking. You have to stop, she said. Either you step away from me, or you cross completely. And if I cross, then I take you. And if I step away, you live, she said. And I forget you. I felt something inside me crack. Say that again. You live, she repeated, and I forget you. Like I never existed? Like you were never mine. I didn't know which part hurt more. I didn't answer her by the river. I went home and sat on my bed until sunrise, listening to the building wake up around me. Pipes knocking. Someone's alarm going off. A couple arguing through thin walls. All the small proofs of life that suddenly felt fragile, like they were waiting for permission to stop. When Mara came again, it was in the late afternoon. She stood across the street from my building, watching people come and go like she was memorizing them. You're avoiding the choice, she said. I'm trying to understand it. There's nothing to understand, she replied. You walk away from me, or you walk with me. Why does it have to be permanent? Because you're not meant to exist between. I crossed the street and stood in front of her. What happens if I choose you? Then your body will finish what it started on that road, she said. And I will take you where I take the others. And you'll forget me? She didn't answer. You said you would. Her eyes lowered. I said I would live without you. That's not the same. No, she admitted. It's worse. We stood in silence while a bus roared past us, shaking the air. I stopped someone from dying, I said. You delayed her, Mara corrected. She lived. For now. Isn't that all any of us get? She looked at me like I had insulted gravity. You're changing how things move, she said. Every time you pull someone back, something else slips forward. Like what? Like you. That night, the dreams came heavier. I wasn't just seeing doors anymore. I was standing in them. Half in hospital rooms, half in empty places that felt like echoes. I woke up with my heart racing and my hands numb. The next collapse wasn't mine. It was my neighbor, the old man who fed pigeons on the fire escape. I felt it from 2 floors up. A sharp pull, like a hook behind my ribs. I ran outside barefoot. He was slumped against the railing, gasping. Mara stood beside him. No, I said. He's ready, she replied. He's scared. They all are. I grabbed her arm again. The world thinned instantly. You can't keep doing this, she said. I can't let you take him. You don't know what you're trading. Neither do you. The old man coughed, then breathed again. His eyes focused. Mara stared at me, something like fear crossing her face for the first time. You're tearing yourself apart, she said. Then stop standing so close to me. I can't, she said. You pull. That night, she followed me inside. Not fully. She stood in the doorway of my apartment like a shadow that learned how to shape itself. This is as far as I can go, she said. I sat on the floor in front of her. If I die, do I stay with you? Yes. And if I live, you forget me. Yes. That's not fair. No, she said. It's correct. I laughed weakly. I don't want to be correct. Her gaze softened. Neither do I. We stayed like that for hours, facing each other across a line neither of us could cross. I don't want to take you, she said suddenly. Then don't. I don't decide alone. Who does? She hesitated. What balances what I do? And what is that? Everything that keeps time from stopping. I closed my eyes. So I'm a problem now. You're a crack, she said. And cracks spread. The next morning, I woke up unable to feel my legs. The ambulance ride was a blur of voices and white lights. I felt Mara with me, even when I couldn't see her. In the hospital room, she stood at the foot of the bed. They're running out of ways to pull you back, she said. So this is it. It's close. I stared at the ceiling. If I go with you, will you remember me? Yes, she said quietly. But only because I will never forgive myself. That answer felt like love. And like a warning. I woke up 3 days later. That's what the doctor said, anyway. 3 days of induced sleep while my heart stabilized and my brain stopped misfiring like a broken signal. 3 days where they weren't sure which direction I would fall. The first thing I felt was weight. Real weight. In my chest. In my arms. In the room itself. The second thing I felt was warmth beside me. Mara was sitting in the chair by the bed, her knees pulled up to her chest like she didn't trust the floor yet. You're solid, I said. She looked up, startled, like she had forgotten I could speak. So are you. I waited for the room to thin, for the air to bend. It didn't. Am I dead? I asked. No, she said. And neither am I. The doctor later told me my heart had stopped for 12 seconds, that they almost lost me, that something changed in my readings right before I stabilized, like my body had remembered how to stay. Mara told me something else. When you pulled me, she said, I didn't go where you were going. I went where you were staying. And that's here. She nodded. I don't hear the others anymore. What others? The ones waiting. The word felt heavy. Did you abandon them? I didn't abandon them, she said. I stopped being able to reach them. They kept me in the hospital for another week. Tests. Scans. Careful observation. No one could explain why the episodes had stopped. Mara stayed the whole time. She learned how to drink water, how to hold a spoon, how to sleep and wake up and complain about the hospital food like a normal person. You don't seem surprised, I said one night. I spent eternity watching people do this, she replied. I just never knew how loud it would be. Loud meant breathing, heartbeats, hallway noise, life stacked on life. What happens now? I asked. She looked at her hands. Now I move forward. Toward what? She hesitated. Toward time. When they discharged me, she walked out with me into the sunlight. She squinted like it was a language she hadn't used before. We rented a small place near the river. Somewhere quiet. Somewhere ordinary. I went back to work part-time. She learned how to cross streets without standing in the middle of them like they didn't matter. At night, sometimes, she woke up suddenly. I dreamed someone was calling, she said once. Calling who? Me. Could you hear them? No, she said. Just the space where the sound should be. I stopped feeling the pull. No thinning. No pressure before strangers fell. The world went back to being opaque. Months passed. Mara started remembering things that weren't her work. A field. A woman's voice. A name she couldn't quite hold on to. I think I used to be someone, she said. You are someone, I replied. She smiled at that, like it was still new. One evening by the river, she said, there's something you should know. What? When I stopped walking people across, something else had to start. My chest tightened. Start what? Someone else took my place. I waited. And they won't come for you, she added. Your door closed. So I get to stay? Yes. And you? I get to learn how, she said. We stood there while the water moved past us, indifferent and alive. Do you miss it? I asked. She thought for a long time. I miss being necessary. But I don't miss being alone. I reached for her hand. It was warm. I still think about that night on the road. About the version of me that didn't make it back. About the version of her that never learned how to stay. Love, I learned, is not choosing life over death. It's choosing one person over inevitability. We didn't cheat the end. We just refused to meet it together. The doctors spoke in careful voices, as if volume could change the outcome. They said my heart was unstable again, that the episode in my legs suggested something neurological, maybe hypoxia catching up with me. They said words like monitor and adjust and hope. Mara stood by the window, watching clouds slide past the glass. You don't belong in rooms like this, I said. I belong where you are, she replied. I smiled faintly. That's the problem. At night, the ward quieted into a soft mechanical breathing. Machines hummed. Curtains whispered when nurses passed. Mara sat in the chair beside my bed. You're closer now, she said. I don't need to call you. You drift. I don't want to drift. Then anchor. To what? She looked at me, and for a moment she looked almost human. To life. That feels unfair. It is, she agreed. I closed my eyes. If I let go of you, will this stop? Yes. And you'll forget me. Yes. Completely. She didn't answer at first. When she did, her voice was low. I will remember the shape of you, not the name. Is that how it works for all of them? Yes. That's cruel. It's functional. I exhaled slowly. I don't want to be another shape. You won't be, she said. Not to me. Then why do you want me to leave? Because I don't want to be the reason you die. The next morning, a nurse leaned over me with a clipboard and said my heart had slipped into an irregular rhythm during the night. They moved me to a different room with more wires. Mara followed, silent. In the afternoon, I felt the pull again, stronger than ever. Not to someone else. To myself. Mara, I said. I think it's starting. She came closer. The air around her dimmed. You can still choose, she said. What happens if I don't? Then you fall all the way through. And you catch me. Yes. Is that what you want? Her eyes closed. When they opened, they were wet. I don't know what I want anymore. That was the first time she cried. Not loudly. Just a quiet fracture in her stillness. I used to think love was a word people made up to soften loss, she said. Now I think it's something that creates it. I don't want you to lose me, I whispered. I don't want you to lose everything, she replied. The monitor beside me stuttered. A sharp alarm cut into the room. Nurses rushed in. Someone said my name like it was an instruction. Mara stepped back. This is the edge, she said. My chest felt hollow, like a door opening inward. I grabbed her hand. It didn't go through her. The world paused. Not stopped. Paused. Like a breath held too long. The nurses froze mid-step. The sound of the monitor stretched into a thin, endless note. What did you do? She asked. I don't know, I said. I just didn't want to let go. You can't hold both sides, she said. Why not? Because something has to move. Then let it be me, I said. Her eyes widened. You don't understand. I do, I said. If I stay alive, you forget me. If I die, you take me. Either way, I lose you. So let me choose something different. There is no different. There is, I said. You stay, and I stay. She shook her head. That's not allowed. By what? By what keeps me what I am. Then break it, I said. Like I did. The frozen world trembled. The walls shivered. Mara gasped, as if something inside her had pulled tight. You're pulling me across, she said. Not you to me. Me to you. Then come, I said. The sound returned all at once. The monitor screamed. Nurses moved. Hands pressed on my chest. Mara stumbled, like gravity had found her. She collapsed into the chair, breathing. Breathing. Her chest rose and fell. She looked at her hands as if they were foreign. What did you do? She whispered. I chose us, I said, my vision fading. Her face twisted with terror and wonder. You can't make the guide stay. I didn't, I said. I just stopped walking away. Darkness closed in from the edges. The last thing I saw was Mara standing up, unsteady, solid, alive, and screaming my name like she was afraid to lose it.